Asmadgurubhyo namaha, Paramatgurubhyo namaha, Sarvagurubhyo namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane namaha, Shri Lakshmi Parabrahmane namaha, Om Shri. So, namaste everybody, and we're oh my internet is just let me check my internet just to give just a second, please. There's something wrong. Seems to be okay. Let's just hope it works. So we are continuing after a long break. Sorry for that. And it's pretty interesting the way we are doing this subject. We are picking up Śaṅkara Bhashya, Ramanuja Bhashya, and also Madhva Bhashya. So we are looking at it from 3 different viewpoints. Ideally, we should take class almost every day, like how they do in the universities, almost every day, and maybe give 2-3 day break every 15 days. This is how traditional studies are done in India, the Vaidika studies. They don't teach on Anadhyayana days, and they continuously teach on the other days. Unfortunately, I don't have the ready-made knowledge and the ready-made PowerPoints ready to teach like that. So to 2 PowerPoints, at least it takes a day or 2 for me. So it's slow. Unfortunately, that's how we are doing it. I recommend you to study or listen to the prior lectures a little bit and study on your own some textbooks or some bhashyas to get clarity. I'm sure some of you don't have so much time. Maybe some of you have time. If you have time, kindly read through some other texts and validate and think about what we're doing in the class. Does it make sense?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes, it does.
Now let's start Kena Upaniṣad Lecture 13 without delay. In the Dvitiya Kanda, the second section, there are 4 sections in Kena Upaniṣad. We are dealing with the second section. This verse, we stopped right at this verse in the last class. And this verse is, Yasya matam, tasya matam, matam yasya na vedasaha, avijñātam vijānatam, vijñātam avijānatam. This is the verse. And I'm directly taking Hiranyana's translation of it. Very simple. And I can even explain word by word so that you get the feeling. Yasya amatam tasya matam. Who does not have an opinion, that is the right opinion. Matam yasya navedasaha. A person with a concrete opinion, he doesn't know. Avijñātam vijānatam. To the known, it is unknown. To the knowledgeable people, it is unknown. Vijñātam avijānatam. It is known to people who don't know. So this obviously the Upanishad thinkers, whatever they realized everything in form of puzzles and unique sentences. So in English, Hiranyana says, oh, to whomsoever it is not known, to him it is known. To whomsoever it is known, he does not know. Unknown to the knowers and known to those that do not know. It is a very, almost like a funny way of saying this. Let's try to understand what Śaṅkarācārya thinks about this verse. Shishya Acharya Samvada Pratinivritya Svena Rupena Shrutihi Samasta Samvada Nivrittam Arthameva Bodhayati. What the sentence is saying is, initially, in the first part of the Kena Upaniṣad, the Shruti or the Kena Upaniṣad started with, in the format of a conversation between a student and and teacher. Now the Shruti stops that conversation and says, look, this is what is the truth. Understand what I'm telling you. So the Shruti is coming out in its original way and stating, declaring the truth from here onwards in the Upanishad. Yasya brahmavidaha amatam avijñātam aviditam brahmeti matam abhiprāyah niṣķayaha tasya matam jñātam samyak brahmam eva brahma ityabhiprāyah. Yasya brahmavidaha. Look at how Śaṅkarācārya text. The person who is a Brahmavid. Brahmavid is knower of Brahman. To them, this is amatam, avijñātam. This Brahman is unknown. Aviditim Brahma. I don't know Brahman. And that is what they feel. You ask any Brahmavid or the knower of Brahman, he says, do you know Brahman? There is no. I don't know what Brahman is. And that is very clear in my mind. That's what they say. Abhiprāyah niṣķayaha. Clearly, I don't know Brahman. Brahman is not something to be known. Tasya matam jñātam samyak brahma ityabhiprāyah. Oh, to that person, Brahman is known properly. Let's try to understand what Śaṅkarācārya is saying. Yasya punaha matam jñātam viditam maya brahma iti niṣķayaha na veda eva saha na brahma vijanati saha. But for those who clearly come out and say, yes, I know Brahman. Yeah, I realized Brahman. I know him. If somebody says that, he doesn't know. Na vijanati. He does not have an idea of Brahman. Vidvat vidishayo. Just a second. Vidvat vidushayoho yatha uktau pakshau avadharayati. So, in the next portion of the words, Śaṅkarācārya says, the person who knows and the person who doesn't know. The two views are summarized again. Avijñātam vijanatam iti, avijñātam amatam aviditameva brahma vijanatam samyak viditavatam ityetat. See, why is that the knowers of Brahman don't know Brahman? Because Brahman is not an object to be known. Brahman is never an object to be known. So once a person clearly knows at any moment, you ask, wake him up early in the morning and ask, do you know Brahman? He will only say, I don't know Brahman. Because Brahman is not something to be known. When that becomes clear, he is in the right path. He knows the true nature of Brahman, that it cannot be known as an object. That is the idea here. Vijñātam viditam brahma avijanatam asamyagdarśana. But the half-educated, half-knowledgeable, half-realized people will say, oh, I found Brahman. They just have some realization. This is a new realization I never had before. Obviously this is Brahman. But they don't know. They think that they know, but they come out and say they know. They come out and say they realized, but they don't know it. Indriya, mano, buddhi, ishu, eva, atmadarṣinam ityartaha. What are they doing? What mistake are they doing? They are superimposing Brahman on the Indriya. They may have some kind of a weird idea of what this Indriya or the senses. Once they realize something about the sense, they think that, oh, Brahman is that sense. So they are superimposing on Brahman their own senses. Similarly, they are superimposing, some people superimpose their minds on Brahman, thinking that understanding mind, they think that mind itself is Brahman. So they're superimposing their cognition of their own minds onto Brahman. Buddhi also, some people may think that their own intellect is Brahman. So that that is also an error. So they are superimposing something which is an Upādhi. We already talked about Upādhis. How many Upādhis did we talk about? Anybody? Do you remember? Upādhis are adjuncts. So people misunderstand Brahman, thinking that their Upādhis are Brahman. Which are the main Upādhis we talked about so far in the Kena Upanishad? Anybody? Anyone?
One
Please.
indicates the tree, the moon behind the cloud
True.
is indicated by the tree or branch or leaf. Yeah, that's
So,
one.
yeah, exactly. That is that is the definition of Upādhi. That is the idea of Upādhi, right? The branches, knowing about the branch, they think that that is the moon. That is error. But which are the Upādhis which commonly people mistake? And those Upādhis are.
We can take straight away the body, mind, prana. These things are mistaken.
True. Anything else you are missing in your list? Body, mind, intellect, prana, all of this can be mistaken as Brahman. But there's one more thing. What is that?
Intellect,
Mentioned in the
Ahankara.
Upanishad.
Intellect, Ahankara.
Yes. Then what else?
Prana.
Pran is also included. There's one thing missing. Somebody should mention the one missing.
Manas.
Manas also
Manas?
is included. What did he say?
Manas, yeah.
Manas is also included. Fine. But beyond the Manas, the thing is, they talked about one more Upādhi or adjunct, which usually people mistake.
Devas.
Devatā. Sir.
Devatas. The thing is, Deveshu, Atha, right? The Upanishad verse says Adhyatma and Deva. Something related to your body, mind, intellect, Adhyatma, or something with related to a Devatā, saying that, oh, this is Ishvara, he is Brahman. This is Viṣṇu, this is Brahman. This is Surya, this is Brahman. This is Agni, this is Brahman. So they superimpose Brahman on all these Devatas. There is, you can go to a temple, you can see a Archa Murti or the Archa Vigraha or the form there, the deity form there. You offer some flowers, you offer, you cry out loud saying that you have some problems, or then you have bhakti, truly you are shaken up by true bhakti. Everything is possible. Nedam yadidam upasate. The Kena Upanishad says, not the one you worship. Brahman is different from the one you worship. So these are all Upādhis. So this is beyond the Upādhi. Let us come back to the text here, because text is very important. The reason I make this interactive is, at the end of the day, I want engagement. I feel better to have engagement, and I think it will benefit you eventually, even though we are going very slow. We'll come back to the PowerPoint. Vijñātam viditam brahma vijanatam indriya mano buddhishveva atmadarshinam. They see Atman in all the Upādhis, like Indriyas, the senses, mind, intellect, and all those things. Natu atyantam meva avyutpanna buddhinam. See, this mistaking happens to the medium intellect person. That is, person with medium intelligence. Avyutpanna buddhinam means that person who doesn't have any brilliance. He's like a dumb guy, dumb guy, dumb girl, whoever, right? Such a person have no idea whether they will not come and tell that, oh, I have seen Brahman. They don't have that problem. The problem is only to the somewhat educated, somewhat realized, but not fully realized. These are the people who mistake something else as Brahman. Nahi tesham vijñātam asmabhyat brahmeti matir bhavati. For the Abhyutpanna Buddhi or the unintelligent ones, totally unintelligent ones, they never claim that they have seen Brahman. But for the people with medium intellect, they can mistake Brahman. So you have to become super intelligent to understand what Brahman is. Then you will tell, I cannot understand Brahman. Brahman is not an object of knowledge. Clear. To put it in this way, for a person who is convinced, he does not see any rope in the snake, any snake in the rope. That means you bring me a piece of rope here. I need to tie something. Like, okay, I know where the rope is. He goes and picks up the rope and brings it in. He is not afraid. He doesn't think that it is a snake at all because he is clear in his mind. So when he is clear in his mind, he will not see any Upādhi or adjunct. In this case, rope is the truth and the snake is the Upādhi. Snake is mistaken. Well, this is a hard analogy. I don't want to bring that in here. So, please excuse me. Erase the last sentence out of your mind, okay? Because somebody mistakes a rope to be a snake. This is not in this Śaṅkara Bhashya here. But there are some people who write some small explanation of Śaṅkara Bhashya here. So I'm just using their explanation to explain a concept. That a jnani does not see the world. Jnani only realizes Brahman. Jnani does not see something else. His vision is pure. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. So the thing is, a person who is clear about rope snake issue clearly sees only the rope. He does not mistake the snake. He knows the truth. He knows the truth that is just a piece of rope. But on the other hand, a person who is who knows nothing, he doesn't know anything. But the half intelligent person mistakes the rope to be a snake. In his mind, a snake appears. For the intelligent one, even the idea of snake does not appear because they clearly know the truth. Hope I'm making sense. Is that understood?
I want to ask a question. That means Brahman is beyond Viṣṇu also, whom we think is, according to this Śaṅkara Bhashya, is above Viṣṇu also. And in this analogy, can we say snake, I mean, it's wrong on me to say that, but can you analyze it as the snake is, according to Śaṅkara, the snake is Viṣṇu and the rope is Brahman? I mean, if you can understand it that way.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that roughly. Yes.
You couldn't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That is possible to understand in that way. Yes.
Thank you.
So because everything people are worshipping are superimposed and not the real one. So that is according to this Upanishad, according to Śaṅkara Bhashya, that is true.
I think he also uses the word samyak jnanam actually. So samyak jnanam.
Samyak jnanam, correct, true knowledge, yes. He always uses the word samyagdarśana, asamyagdarśana.
Yeah, samyagdarśana.
Yeah,
but the problem is, what is true knowledge? Then it means, one who has samyak knowledge is a knower then. Then he doesn't know.
See, the thing is that we will come to that. So, a person who has samyak knowledge doesn't know. There is a reason for it, because Brahman is not an object of knowledge to know. So he is knowing the truth.
Samyak knowledge itself is, samyak jnanam itself is not jnanam really. It's not darshanam.
See, you have to think from the perspective of where people are. Where people are in the bound state. So they have to get to the right state. If they know something wrong, they will not get to the right state. So Samyagdarśana is knowing the right truth, knowing the essence of the Upanishads. So there's nothing wrong in it. See, the thing is, don't confuse Samyagdarśana into anything else. Samyagdarśana is understanding what is said in the Vedas as truly as possible.
Not knowing, or it's not understanding that Brahman is not an object to know. Is that correct?
See, very clearly get into this conviction. According to Śaṅkarācārya, Brahman is not knowable at all.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there is no half knowing of Brahman. I know 3/4 Brahman. I know quarter of Brahman. There is nothing called that. Brahman is not knowable, period. So the true knower of the Upanishads will never know Brahman, and he will never claim that he knows Brahman.
That is the issue, really, for my issue, because if that is Samyak Jnanam, then one who says Brahman is not truly knowable doesn't know, actually.
You're indicating a very good question which Śaṅkarācārya himself asks. He himself asked this question. Look, if a true knower of Brahman doesn't know Brahman, and ordinary layman, layfolk also don't know Brahman, what is the difference between the true knower of Brahman and the lay common person who doesn't know Brahman anything? He doesn't even know what Shastras are. He is just ordinary person. So there is no difference between the super knowledgeable Vidwan and the total layperson. This question he himself asks, and he will answer that. That comes in the next verse. Don't worry, it will come.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, na tu atyantameva avatpana buddhina nahi tesham vijñātam asmapit brahmeti. Next. Indriya mano buddhyad upadishvu atmadarṣinam tu brahmopadi viveka anupalambhat buddhyad upadescha vijñātatvat viditam brahma ityupapadyate Bhrantihi yatyataha asamyagdarshanam. What Śaṅkarācārya is saying here is, look, people who see Brahman or mistake that the Indriyas or the senses or the mind or the intellect is Brahman, what is happening to them is they do not discriminate between their own mind and Brahman. They do not find the difference between their own senses and Brahman. They do not discriminate between their own intelligence and Brahman. Because they don't see the difference, they mistake. So they think that the Upādhi are the adjunct, like the mind, body, intellect, they themselves are Brahman. And that is why they have this illusion, oh, my mind is Brahman, or my intelligence is Brahman. That is an illusion. They don't see the truth properly. That is why I say asamyagdarshanam. They don't see truth as it is. Purvapakshena upanyaste vijñātam avijanātam iti atva hetvarta uttarardho vijñātam iti adihi. This particular aspect, don't worry too much of it. There's just some two ways of looking at the second sentence. And it doesn't make any big difference philosophically. We will just skip it. Dvitiya Kanda, next comes the verse, because I'm coming to an important verse and I would like to hopefully finish this verse in about next 30-40 minutes. Even that is not possible. I realized in the last moment today, we can only look at this verse from two perspectives. Śaṅkarācārya's perspective and Bhartṛprapañca's perspective, I think. The second, see, he takes up four views here, I think. Śaṅkarācārya's view, Bhartṛprapañca's view, which Śaṅkarācārya condemns, and Kanada view, or the view of the logician, which Śaṅkarācārya condemns. Maybe one other view is there. We will only pick up the first two views. The view of Śaṅkarācārya on this verse, and then the view of Bhartṛprapañca on this verse, which Śaṅkarācārya condemns or argues against. Let's see this. Now he gives an idea, the same question Sri Swami was talking about. He says, Avijñātam Vijānatam, Kena Upaniṣad. The same Kena Upaniṣad says in the previous verse. Avijñātam Vijānatam. Sorry. It went somewhere else. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Avijñātam Vijānatam, Kena Upaniṣad. Ityavadhratam. We understood that is, it is not known to the known, not known to the Veda Vidvans. Yadi Brahma Atyantameva Avijñātam, Laukikanam Brahmavidam cha Vishesha Praptaha. If Brahman is completely unknowable, that is completely, Brahman is not knowable at all, then what is the difference between Brahmavit, who is a knower of Brahman, and ordinary Laukika, ordinary layperson? In another thing is Avijñātam Vijānatam iti Paraspara Viruddham. Even the Kena Upaniṣad original verse seems to be self-contradictory. Vijānatam means the person who knows. Avijñātam means it is not known. It is not known to the person who knows. What is this oxymoron the Vedas are talking about? Doesn't make any sense. This is a question posed by Śaṅkarācārya himself. Then his answers, the meaning I will take directly from Hiriyanna, very well written. That is, the verse says, Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam. That is the verse here. We'll just take a superficial meaning here. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. Pratibodha viditam matam means the opinion known by Pratibodha. Whatever that Pratibodha means, right? Pratibodha is something, and we'll see what Śaṅkarācārya talks about. Pratibodha viditam, something known through Pratibodha, that view will give immortality. Amritatvam hi vindate, immortality. Atmana vindate viryam, vidyaya vindate amritam. Through Atman one gets virya or the power. Vidyaya vindate amritam. Through Vidya one gets immortality. So that's what is the meaning of this. This is very difficult for us to understand. We will only deal with Śaṅkarācārya's view and Śaṅkara Bhashya now. Eventually, I want you to think about all these things, because this is Upanishads are never understood by just learning, listening to a couple of videos and things that I know Upanishads. It doesn't work that way. You have to go and contemplate, think, do I understand this? Do I understand this? You have to validate your own understanding. So here, let's go further. When that is the translation from Hiriyanna, when Brahman is known through every state of consciousness, if we wake up, think about it, so many thoughts come. Maybe 20,000 thoughts come per day, or 100,000 thoughts come per day in our cognition. Similarly, there are so many people in this world, so many animals, so many human beings. All of them have different thoughts every moment. So when Brahman is known through every state of consciousness, it is rightly known. So then we know that that is Brahman. And then through that one attains immortality. So what is the difference between the person who is a knowledgeable person, Vidvan, and ordinary layperson, Laukika? The Vidvan knows through every state of consciousness, any state of consciousness that Vidvan is, he knows what Brahman is, because Brahman is the power behind that state, the witness of that state. He knows that. Then he will get immortality. Through one's own self, do real power come? Does real power come? That is one's own self, that is Atmana vindate viryam. The real power is actually through the self itself. And through self-knowledge, through knowing about self comes immortality. How do you know yourself? Only through the different states of consciousness. That self is the witness of all these consciousnesses, all the states of experiences. In Sanskrit, they use the word called pratyaya. Pratyaya means experience. So there are so many experiences we have and so many experiences others have. Behind all these things, there is one witness, that is Brahman. And if a Vidwan or a knowledgeable person knows this all the time, that yes, in any state of consciousness, I see this witness. He doesn't see this witness as an object, but he realizes that the witness is causing all these things. The power behind the Chaitanya or consciousness in every act of knowing is because of one undifferentiated, pure consciousness. That is what he is trying to say here in this verse. Katham tu tad brahma samyak viditam bhavati ityeva martamaha. Pratibodha, how do we know that Brahman properly? Pratibodha viditam bodham pratibodham. Bodham means one consciousness, another consciousness, another consciousness. Every consciousness, if you add up, that is becomes Pratibodha. Here, bodha means knowing, cognition. One cognition, second cognition, third cognition, that there are so many cognitions. When you look at all the cognitions, then you know there is one witness for all these cognitions. The cognitions come and go. Somebody goes to a zoo, suddenly somebody opens a door and a lion walks into another room where he can say, oh, now I got the knowledge of the lion in front of me. And the lion goes away to some other place where he cannot see. I don't know where the lion is now. I don't have the knowledge of lion at this point. So the cognitions come and go.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bodha shabdena bodhya pratyaya. Here pratyaya means conviction, no?
No, pratyaya means experience.
Or vritti, actually.
Pratyaya can
experience.
Experience is the right word.
Yeah.
Pratyaya is experience, anubhava.
Not conviction.
Not conviction. See, the thing is, look at the, in the Shakta tradition, like Sharada Tilaka, or any kind of that text, you will get this very powerful three entities: Shabda, Artha, Pratyaya. Do you remember this? Even in the Yoga Sutras, there is a sutra called Shabdhartha Pratyayoho Itetra.
Yes. Shabdhartha Pratyaya. Yes.
The Shabda refers to the original sound. But see, let us forget the origin of Shakta tradition. Let us not go to the origin and creation text and all. Just understand the basic of the Shabda Artha Pratyaya. Artha is the object, like sugar is an object, and that is the Artha. Shabda is the word sugar, right? Pratyaya is the experience. You put a small piece of sugar into your mouth and start tasting. That experience is sugar. Still sugar taste, right? So these three are different.
Excuse me, but what I meant was, when you realize only, you get conviction, no? So because of that realization, that which conviction comes, I thought that may be the meaning of pratyaya.
The conviction comes after anubhava, right?
Yes, that is what.
So here in the Sanskrit, the pratyaya only means anubhava.
Okay.
Only anubhava. That's all. Conviction is another state. After one can get conviction, that is a different issue. But the thing is, pratyaya anubhava. For example, see, the anubhava can be real or unreal, right? For example, simply rope snake. Somebody can immediately think that it is it is a snake, right? If there is wind blowing and you cannot see the rope properly and it is wiggling, you think that it is a snake. But that is the anubhava. There is no conviction. Conviction comes when true knowledge comes. So Anubhava is irrespective of whether that knowledge is true or not, you will get Anubhava. So that is Pratyaya. Shabda, Artha, Pratyaya. These are the three things. Here, Bodha Shabdene, Bauddha. Any question? Okay. Bodha Shabdena, Bauddha, Pratyaya, Uchyante. Here, Bauddha is not taken as Buddhist. It's taken as anybody who is what we call, it should be probably taken as Buddhist. But the thing is, in the translations, I don't see the word Buddhist that much. So the rationalists think that Bodha means Pratyaya is cognition, experience of a cognition or something like that. Sarve Pratyayaha Vishayi Bhavanti Yasya Sa Atma. That means if there are all the cognitions, all the different cognitions is witnessed by one Atma. Sarva Bodha Prati Buddhyate, Sarva Bodhan Prati Buddhyate. He is behind, that Atma is behind all cognitions. Sarva Pratyaya Darshi, he is the witness of all cognitions. Cognition, experience. Chit Shakti Swarupamartraha, he is consciousness, the very nature of consciousness. Chit Shakti, he says. Pratyayaireva pratyayeshu avishishtataya lakshate. So this thing is, this constant witness is common to all cognitions. Pratyayaihi, different cognitions. Pratyayeshu avishishtataya. It is not specific to any cognition. It is common witness to all cognitions. That's how it appears. Na anyat dwaram antara atmano vijnanaya. There is no other way to know Atman, because Atman is not an object of knowledge. So the only way you see is a cognition occurs. Oh, I saw this bottle. I got the bottle cognition. In my mind, there is a cognition, there is an object, there is experience. Then you say, oh, there is something behind this witness. The witness is making all these things happen. The witness doesn't start seeing. The witness is always seeing. But when the mind comes in contact with the object, then there is this cognition which occurs, but it is occurring because of the witness. So that is how Śaṅkarācārya understands.
Question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if the continuous observer is considered to be Atma, then how do we deny that it is not the I is the observer? Because, like the I also is always there, right?
See, you're right. You're right. What Śaṅkarācārya is saying is, usually we are assuming as our individual I is a mistake. He says that we superimpose our mind, intellect, or previous experiences, or samskaras, or the remembrance of prior experiences. All these things, and or our ego or anything, we mix it up and call that as I.
Correct.
He says that the true I is not this combination. It is something behind. And that is actually the common witness to all. Whether it is your I or my I or somebody else's I, it's common to all. That is the power behind all eyes. Okay. And that is what is Atma according to Śaṅkarācārya. We usually mistake individual I and individual cognitions to that main cognizer. That's what his warning is. I'm reading as is Hiranya's words here. The reason is he summarizes well and is very accurate. Pratibodha Viditam means, I'm just now summarizing in English. Pratibodha Viditam means perceived in every state of consciousness. The word bodha refers to mental states. The self to which all mental states become objects of knowledge is known through every one of those states. That means if I have a cognition of the bottle, a cognition of this mouse or whatever it is, that is a mental state. And the self is the knower and these mental states are known. So the thing is, the mental states becomes cognizable to the knower. The witness of all mental operations whose essence is mere sentiency. So the thing is, he is prajnana gana. He is just a mass of knowledge, pure knowledge. And that is the witness of all these operations, the mental operations. So I have a body, mind, intellect, and I have set of operations, and that is the witness behind. You and others may have different body, mind, intellect, and operations and cognitions, but there's only one witness. So, and that said, the very nature of that witness is sentiency or chaitanya. There is no other meaning, no other means of knowing that inner self. So when do you know the inner self? When you know that that inner self is different from all your cognitions. And that is why Śaṅkarācārya clearly says in some other parts of the Upanishads, Neti, Neti, Neti. You will only know that Brahman is not this. Brahman is not what I'm thinking. Brahman is not my thought. Brahman is not my ego. Brahman is not my mind. So the thing is, all your conscious operations, you deny and say somebody is there behind it. And that is Brahman. That's the only way to know Brahman. Neti, Neti is the only method to know Brahman, according to Śaṅkarācārya. Ataha, I'm just switching back to Śaṅkara Bhashya just to know that I am relating these two, right? Ataha, pratyaya pratyegatmataya viditam brahma yada tada tat matam tat satyam satya that samyagdarśana ityartaha sarva pratyaya darshitve. Okay, we will come this again. So the first sentence says that all experience and cognition states of mind are witnessed by this one Atma. That is Brahma. When you know that, that is the true knowledge. Sarva pratyaya darshitve, witness of being all the states of consciousness. Cha upajanana apaya varjita dhrit swarupata. It does not have a beginning or end. It does not have birth or death. It is only drik. It is witness. There is nothing to witness in a way, in truly speaking. That will come later. But the thing is, it is a witness initially of this, all these universal activities and the states of mind. Nityatvam, it is eternal. It doesn't start somewhere and end somewhere. Our cognitions can start somewhere, end somewhere. We see some bottle, okay, I saw it. We see a lion, we saw a lion. Later on, that goes away, that goes away. Our cognitions come and go. But that is a constant cognizer, constant witness. Vishuddha Swarupam Atma Tattvam. It is pure and unpolluted in every way. Nirvishesha Taikatvam. It does not have any attributes of any attributes we know of. Just sarva bhuteshu siddham bhavete. It is there in every one of us. Lakshana bhedha bhavat vyomna iva ghata giri guhadishu. See, look at this space. Inside a pot, there is space. Inside a cave, mountain cave, there is space. But space is one. The other objects are being there, and it is completely pervaded by space without leaving any small place. So everywhere space is there. So the thing is like that. That witness does not discriminate between anything inside. Vidita, aviditabhyam, anyad brahma it agama vakyartham eva parishuddha eva upasamhrito bhavati. This is contained in another verse saying that this is aviditat adhi in the Upanishad, Kena Upaniṣad it says, right? It is beyond the known, it is beyond the unknown. Why is it beyond the unknown? Because even unknown can be known someday. So everything becomes knowable. But Brahman is different from knowable. This is what is being summarized here. Drishter, drashta, shrutesh, shrota, manter, manta, vijñater, vijñata. This is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad he quotes. Really speaking, he quotes a slightly modified version of the original Upanishad, because Upanishad 3.4.2 does not appear like this. The sentence is not exact. I will tell you what the sentence is. The actual sentence comes here. This is in the Brihadaranyaka, which says, this is the conversation between Ushasta Chakrayana and the great Yajnavalkya. Ushasta Chakrayana, I will come to this after reading Hiranya's translation here. So let's get back to Hiranya's translation here. The Hiranya's translation here is this: no other means of knowing the self. There is no other means of knowing the self. Hence, the meaning is that when Brahman is known as the inmost essence of mental perception, then that is matam, the right knowledge. When once Brahman is admitted to be the witness of all mental perceptions, it follows that it is of the nature of sentiency or consciousness, without beginning or end, eternal, pure in form, identical with oneself. That is the true self of ours. We mistake ourself as, I know myself. You really don't know yourself. Yourself is the self of everybody else. And that is not known to you. You think that your limited body, mind, intellect, whatever is dealing and whatever experiences they had, that is yourself. That is the lower self. That's not the true self. The true self is the constant witness, devoid of distinctions and one in all beings. We don't know that our I is the I behind somebody else. He's a nutcase. I will never behave like that nutcase. We say that. Obviously, we are making a difference between myself and that nutcase. But in Brahman, there is no distinctions, irrespective of who the body, mind, intellect is. That's one thing. There is no distinguishing feature between one such witness and another. So there is no distinguishing, there is only one witness. As in the case of space, for instance, encompassed by a jar or a mountain cave. Thus, the teaching of the Vedic text that the Brahman is different from the known as well as from the unknown is summarized here as referring to the unqualified higher Brahman who does not have any relationship with any of these objects which are known or unknown. Compare another Vedic text, the seer of the sight, hearer of the hearing, thinker of the thought, knower of the knowledge. Right? This is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I'll come to that. Here is the question, and he is saying that, oh, Yajnavalkya, you are telling me this, if it walks like this, is the cow. Oh, if it runs like it is the horse. Tell me, Atma, clearly, what is this Atma, Sarvantaraha, which is everywhere? Vyachakshva, tell me. Don't try to escape. Come and tell me, this is what is Brahman. And he's everywhere, and he's inside everything. Katama Yajnavalkya Sarvantara, how is it all pervading? He says, Na drishter drashtaram pashehe, na shrutehe shrotaram shrunuyaha, na manter mantaram manvithaha, na vijñater vijñataram vijaniyaha. Yeshate atma sarvantaro anyat ato anyadartam tato tatoha ushasta chakrayanaha upararama. What it says that? That is the Yajnavalkya says, Na drishter drashtaram pashe. You cannot see the seer behind the sight. You cannot see the hearer behind the hearing. You cannot know the thinker behind your thoughts. You don't know the knower behind your knowledge. Hence, that is that Atma, Sarvantaraha. That Atma is everywhere. Ataha anyadartam, rest is useless. Rest is not important. Trivial. The rest. And that is the Atma to be known. You don't know, you can't know, but that is true. If you know, you get immortality. And how do you know? Here in the Upanishad it says, in every cognition, if you know the cognizer is behind, and the rest is cognition. And there is one witness behind all cognitions. That person gets immortality. That is the mark of a mature, intelligent, knowledgeable person. In contrast with an ordinary person who doesn't know Brahman. Yada punurbodhakriya karta iti bodhakriya lakshanena tatkartaram vijanati bodha lakshanena viditam pratibodha viditam iti vyakhyayate yatha ye vrikshashākās chalayati sa vayuriti tadvate tada bodhakriya shaktiman atma dravyam na bodha swarupah iti eva bodhastu jayate vinashyate. See, this is I think the view of Bhartṛprapañca. I will validate it. I'll again check it. Sometimes I get confused with the names. And obviously, Bhartṛprapañca was prior to Śaṅkarācārya. He says that, look, there is a potter behind every pot, right? If you see a pot, you realize that a potter made the pot in the morning. He came early, did the pot, and put the pot here, and he went away. You know, bodhakriya similarly, here say vrikshashākās chalayati sa vayuriti. That means the branches of a tree are moving. Why? Because of the wind. So the wind, even though you don't see the wind is causing the branches of the tree to move. You know it. So similarly, bodhakriya lakshanena, knowledge, cognition. When cognition happens, you say, oh, there's the guy behind the cognition. That karta, or the, what do you call, the person who is making this happen. And bodha lakshanena viditam pratibodha viditam iti vyakhyayate. Yatha. So the thing is, he becomes the actor behind the actions. So that actor has the bodha kriya shakti. He has the power of cognition. So he is an entity, that is the Brahman, and that Brahman has the power which can make cognitions happen. So Brahman bodha kriya shaktiman atma dravyam. So that atma is a dravya, is an object. And that object, or an entity, let's put it as an entity. Other entity is making all cognitions happen. So he is a real person, willfully, he is making all these cognitions happen. So he has the power of this cognition, making cognitions happen everywhere. Na bodha swarupaha, but he is not made of consciousness. He is not made of pure knowledge. Can you say that? Bodhastu jayate vinashyati. The cognitions come and go. Like how a potter makes a pot and breaks it, and again makes a new pot. So the cognitions happens and goes. But there is there is no, see, Bhartṛprapañca thinks that Brahman is not made of consciousness. Yada bodho jayate tada bodhakriya savisheshaha. When the cognition occurs, when the mental state occurs, then it becomes associated with an attribute that, oh, now cognition is happening, there is a cognizer and there is a cognition happening. Yada bodho nashyati, when the cognition goes away, tada nashtabodho dravyamatram nirvisheshaha. Nashtabodha. That means there is no cognition. Dravyamatram nirvishesha. There is only object with, there is the Brahman without any attributes. Tatra evam sati vikriyatmakaha sa avayavaha anityaha ashuddhaha ityadaya dosha na parihartum shakyante. If you think like this, then that Brahman becomes action oriented. That is, Brahman is actor. He has avayava, or he has different limbs. And his anityaha, that means he can come and go. He is not there eternally. Ashuddhaha, he gets into all messes, all activities in this universe, good thoughts, bad thoughts, and everything. He is the guy who is doing everything. He will become tainted by, he is polluted. So all these doshas, all these impurities, difficulties comes in knowing in the way Bhartṛprapañca is thinking. So that is not the right view. Now Śaṅkarācārya says that he has to be nirvishesha, Niṣkriya, Shuddha. That means no attributes, no actions, pure, untouched by all these activities. I'm reading the same thing in Hiranyana's words, just to get validation, and maybe I made a mistake, I'm correcting it using Hiranyana's version. When, however, Pratibodha Viditam is interpreted as known by the characteristic act of knowing, on the supposition that Brahman is the agent in the act of knowing, like a potter in the act of making pots, and that the agent is known through his action, with knowing, as for instance, in the case of wind, which may be indicated by it shaking the branches of the trees. The self becomes a mere substance possessing the faculty of knowing and not knowledge itself. So the Brahman is different from knowledge, but it can have the faculty of knowledge. Knowledge only appears and disappears. So the mental states and other things appear and disappear. When knowledge appears, the self becomes distinguishable by the act of knowing. So when knowledge happens, okay, knowing is happening now. So self is associated with knowing. When knowledge disappears, then being disassociated by knowing, it becomes mere unintelligent substance. If there are no, so there is no, when the knowledge is not there, the person, the knowledge becomes an accidental characteristics of coming and going, coming and going. Hence, it will, in this view, be impossible to get over the objection that Brahman is changeable. Brahman becomes changeable in this model. He has knowledge, he does not have knowledge. He does something, he does not do anything. So composed of parts, transient, impure, and so on. All these problems come into the Brahman if you don't accept the model and ideology of Śaṅkarācārya, who says this Brahman is unchangeable, nirvikara, does not have any limbs, he is eternal, always there, pure, nitya, shuddha, Buddha. Buddha means made of consciousness. Prajnana ghana, made of consciousness. You have to accept this view according to Śaṅkarācārya. Yadapi kanādānām atma manaha samyogajo bodha atmani samavayaveti ataha atmani bodhatvam. We'll come to the Kanāda view later. I thought that we could do it comfortably. I don't want to confuse you. I want you to slowly think about it and sink in the ideas of, I think, Bhartṛprapañca. I'm just going to validate if it is Bhartṛprapañca in a minute. I think I'll stop share. Here, stop share already. I think I saw it as it says, Sachidanandana Swami says that Bhartṛprapañca. In the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Bhartṛprapañca does this. So I think I'm at least sincere in telling you that the other Vyakhyakarta, that is the opponent being addressed here in the first section, is Bhartṛprapañca. And that view, Śaṅkarācārya does not like. Bhartṛprapañca is a Pariṇāmavādi. Pariṇāmavāda means Brahman himself transforms into this universe. That Pariṇāmavāda is not acceptable to Śaṅkarācārya. What is the view acceptable to Śaṅkarācārya? Anybody? It is not Pariṇāmavāda. And what Vada is acceptable to Śaṅkarācārya? What is that?
Is it Vivartavāda?
Correct. This is Vivartavāda. It appears to, the Brahman appears to as this universe of all the changes and things like that. Brahman truly is disassociated with this universe. Knows not even a contact. Brahman does not have any contact. It is in your mind. That is why all this Drishti Srishtivāda, Srishti Drishtivāda, and all these Vadas come in the Advaita tradition. So this is what we are understanding. So far, was this class useful? Did we say something which you may not know earlier? Was it clear?
I do have a question though.
Go ahead.
I still have problem with the Samyagdarśana, because Samyagdarśanam is not knowledge, actually. It's correct knowledge, but because once you say knowledge, that means it's that is somebody who has knowledge is not a knower then.
No,
So Samyagdarśanam,
Samyagdarśanam,
as I understand, Samyagdarśanam, as I understand, is the correct process of knowing, not the knowledge, correct knowledge itself.
It is no slight difference is there. Think from a different perspective. In Śaṅkarācārya's view, you should understand all activities, transactions, vyavaharas, what they call vyavaharika, all transactions, all knowing, thinking, doing, all this are mental states. That's not true knowledge. The true knowledge is only Brahman. Brahman is prajnana ghana. And reflection of Brahman onto these Upādhis. The Brahman is reflected in mind, intellect, senses, our nervous system, our body, mind, intellect, complex, everything. So here there is no true knowledge. What is the knowledge here in the other than the Brahman? What is the real knowledge is to know that there is no Brahman here. Neti, 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 neti. That is the true knowledge. And that knowledge is not true Brahman knowledge. That is Swarupa Jnana. It is the mind, prakasha of the mind. Or it is just the light of the mind, which is still a reflection from the true consciousness. So what is true knowledge? Samyagdarśana here. Samyagdarśana is the right path for a person bound in this universe to get out of this universe. That's all. Thinking from that.
That's what I'm saying, is the process of, not the knowledge itself, but the process actually.
It is knowledge of the process, right? Process doesn't need knowledge. If somebody mixes two chemicals and then creates some third chemical, there is no need for a knowledge of it. It still happens. But here it is the knowledge of the process. What is the knowledge? Even the text of the Vedic text, if somebody explains to you, this is the meaning of the Vedas, that is still knowledge. But that is a transactional knowledge here, which is no knowledge at all from the Shankara's absolute perspective. Because absolute, there's only one knowledge, which is Brahman, prajnana. And that is different from transactional knowledge.
So Samyagdarśana itself is transactional then.
Correct. Samyagdarśana is Vrittignana. Our
Vrittignana.
Yeah, it is Vrittignana. It is something between our mind, buddhi, ego, and all this stuff acting together.
Can I say something here?
Go ahead, sir.
Tulsidas ji, in his Ramcharitamanas in Hindi, has explained in a different way. Binu pada chalai sunai binu kana, kara binu karma karai vidhinana, anan rahita sakala rasa bhogi, binu vani bakata bada jogi. All these things he says about Brahma.
We don't understand Hindi, sir, as much as you do.
Okay. Anana rahita sakala rasa bhogi. He doesn't have mouth, but he tastes all the rasas, all the tastes, everything he tastes. Anana rahita sakala rasa bhogi. Binu vani bakata bada jogi. He doesn't have a vani. He doesn't speak. But he's a very big bhakta. He's a very big, he talks, he says so many things. So he's explaining everything about Brahma in such simple way. That's in one verse says, Neti neti jai Brahma nirupa. Neti neti is the same thing. You are saying Neti neti jai Brahma nirupa. Nirakara nirupādhi anupa. Without any akar, without any upādhi. So I'm saying, Tulsidas has said all these things in a very simple
words. It's so true. Yeah. See, the thing is, I do see Tulsidas is an Advaiti, but a great bhakta.
Yes.
And his simplicity in his language is very well extolled by many people who know Hindi.
Yes.
And I see a lot of these people like Kripalu Maharaj and other people whom I have heard, they used to quote Tulsi Ramayana all the time. And they know the entire Tulsi Ramayana by heart. They can pick up from any verse to any verse and they understand the meanings very well. Yeah.
Most of the people do not realize that Tulsidas ji did not write Ramcharitmanas. It is written by Mahadev himself. And that is also written in the Ramcharitmanas.
Oh, really?
It is not Tulsidas' creation. It is the creation of Mahadev himself. It is written in Ramcharitmanas. Rachi mahe sanij manas rakha, pai su samaya sivasana bhaka. Rachi means he wrote the whole script and he kept in his mind. Rachi mahe sanij manas rakha, pai su samaya sivasana bhaka. When he found the right time, then he told it to Siva. Siva means Parvati, his wife. Tate Ram Charitamanasavar Dhareu Nam Hiya Heri Harasi Har. That's why its name is Ramcharitmanas. And that also was given by Mahadev, not by Tulsidas. Dhareu Nam Hiya Heri. Apne hriday mein dekha, Dhareu Nam Hiya. This is in my Manas. So Ram ka Charit in my Manas. So Ramcharitmanas. So Dhareu Nam Hiya Heri Harasi Har. Badi खुश हो के हमारे महादेव खुश हो के महादेव ने इसका नाम रामचरितमानस रखा. So neither the name nor the old description belong to Tulsi. It was just like Mahabharata. Mahabharata was written by Vedavyas, written by Ganeshji. So same thing, Ramcharitmanas is written by prepared by Mahadev, was written by Tulsidas.
True. I got it.
So it is it's a not Ramcharitmanas has the it is Mahadev's stuff, the divine stuff. It is not the human stuff written by a human. That's what I want to bring up.
Very nice, very nice. Very nice. Any other questions before we stop today?
Understood the lecture, but need to go through once more.
Okay. The thing is, we need to understand here the view of Bhartṛprapañca and the view of Kanada. I think he also takes the third option, that is Buddhist. Kshanikavadis, right? Buddhists have this Kshanikavāda. Everything is momentary according to some Buddhists. So he takes that Vada. So he takes three Vadas in this and says all these three Vadas are not correct. Śaṅkarācārya's view is right. And that's what he's going to say. So in the next class, we'll pick up the other two Vadas. But I want you to carefully think about what is Bhartṛprapañca's view. Unfortunately, there are no textbooks available by Bhartṛprapañca today. They're all only quotations given by different acharyas about Bhartṛprapañca wrote here, wrote there, wrote kind of thing. We don't have real textbooks from Bhartṛprapañca. That's all. Okay. With this, we stop. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Paraparamane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Paraparamane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Paraparamane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Paraparamane
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
The news media.